Hey there, welcome to NZ Money Karma, where you can find freedom from the daily grind through budgeting, simple living and adventure. It's a cash stuffing day today. I'm here getting my money from the ATM. I'm going to walk home, I've got the dog with me, and we're going to sort this out and do a bit of a reallocation. So nice to go out and have that walk and grab our cash. Welcome along. And I am trying really hard to cultivate a sense of peace, and everything I'm doing at the moment, I am trying to make it as kind of as nice or as fun or as whatever I can as possible. So today when I'm cash stuffing, I got this lovely wee candle as a gift, and I thought, why not light it rather than just keep it there sitting on the table never being used. It's like, just light the candle, enjoy the candle. So that's what I'm doing. I really wanted to have a good chat with you guys today. We're going to be doing something a little bit different. It's not just a normal cash stuff today. If you're new here and you haven't heard my blurb before, we are a family of four living on $40,000 a year in Otautahi, Christchurch, New Zealand. If you're not from around these parts, you might not know, but that's a very small amount of money by New Zealand standards. We love living simply, we love living frugally. Our one indulgence is travel. We love to travel. And I guess when I started this channel, which was like a bit over 2 years ago now, it's been quite a long time, we were living on $35,000 a year, and that was including our travel. Our $40,000 a year this year is not including any travel. We have recently had an overseas trip, but that came from sinking funds, so that's not kind of funded out of this $40,000. We would not be able to have an overseas trip at the moment on $40,000. So what am I doing? Today, I'm doing a bit of cash stuffing, but before I get into cash stuffing, I'm doing something else, and that something else is I'm going to be rebalancing my folders. So some people call it reallocating. I think of it as rebalancing, and I think it's really important to do this every now and then for lots of reasons. The first reason I think it's really important is because it makes sure our spending is aligning with our values. So for example, if I look in one of these folders, I know my bike envelope is completely empty because I had to buy a lot of bike things lately. That means if I need a bike thing, I'm going to have to buy something really cheap. I'm going to have to take it from one, I'm going to have to steal it from one envelope and put it into bikes. I'm going to make it the cheapest thing I possibly can. That's not my values, right? So I just want to buy something once, and I want to buy it as good as I can get it, like not necessarily like $1 million, but something that I think is good quality. That's what I want to buy. So reallocating the funds and making sure the right envelopes are fully funded, and like it's okay for the fun envelope, for example, for us to be working on it, but it's probably not okay that the doctor envelope isn't fully funded. So I want to make sure our spending, what we have available, is aligning with our values. It protects our wealth by reallocating, because it means we're not feeling forced into using our emergency fund or dipping into our investment accounts or dipping into some long-term savings. So we might do that if we had, for example, if there's a doctor's bill and there wasn't enough money in here. Yes, we're still going to go to the doctor. We have the money to do that. It's just not allocated for that. And if we do that all the time, if we're kind of always stealing little bits of money from ourselves, from our future selves, or from our big goal selves, then we miss out, and I don't want that. So I want to make sure that we protect our wealth by managing our small budget really well. And the third thing I want to do is make sure, I think reallocating, this is what this achieves, is keeps us frugal people rather than cheap people. And I have really been noticing this lately when I go shopping at the supermarket. I'm starting to feel really like a cheap person rather than a frugal person. I'm not making choice, they're all kind of tied up around protecting wealth, making sure we align our spending with our values, as well as being frugal rather than cheap. They're all kind of quite intertwined. But I don't want to buy something because it's cheap when it's not the healthiest option that I can afford, or that I can make available to my family. And I feel like I have been doing that a little bit for lots of different reasons. I'm just so determined to stick to this budget. I want to prove that $40,000 a year is possible to live a nice, comfortable life on. It's very difficult. The jury's still out on that. I shall report back at the end of the year and tell you my thoughts on that. But it's, I'm committed to that challenge, to that goal. But I also don't want our health to suffer, or I don't want to be buying, rubbish products that break quickly, or, have lots of plastic, all that kind of stuff, which I have started to do more and more and more, and I'm stopping. So that's why I'm doing this reallocation, of the sinking funds money. Hope that makes sense. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually unpack these envelopes. All the envelopes that can be unpacked, I'm going to unpack. So we can just chat while I do that. Some of the envelopes are going to be completely empty, for example. So sports envelope. I don't know how much is in each of these envelopes. I'm just unpacking the ones that can be unpacked. Petrol. We've had this petrol money sitting in there for such a long time. We don't fill up our car because we hardly use it. Work travel. That will need to be definitely restuffed, but that can come out. School fees I'm not unstuffing because, I just need what I need. The garden, I'm going to unstuff that. And this is, I think, I don't know if it's just me, but of late, I have just been feeling kind of poor. I've just been feeling like everything's a bit of a struggle. I'm not going to unstuff this $20 because that was my Mother's Day movie present money, and I'm intending to use it. So I think it'll be interesting when I finish to see how much money we actually have and whether or not it's just in the wrong envelopes. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like you feel, I'm feeling really poor, I'm feeling cheap. But look, I've got a lot of money there. I don't know how much it is yet because I haven't counted it up, but it's clearly more than $1,000. That's a lot of money. So I think by the end of this process, I will have a lot more clarity on what we need to focus on. Like, for example, this blue binder. I would say this blue binder is a priority and should be fully funded. But it's not, or it wasn't. Certainly not now. But, hopefully it can be. Am I making sure our basic needs are covered? Oh, and I've got this extra money for, it's not extra. I didn't get this out of the ATM. So normally I will be taking out $1,000 from the ATM. I didn't do that today because I had this extra money, which has come from an envelope. So when I empty out an envelope, like the giving one, for example, which this week we paid our sponsorship of an African elephant called Rapsu. We paid that online, but I had saved the money in here. So the way I make that work is I just take the money from my envelope, put it to the side, pay online, and then make that part of my $1,000. Yeah, hope that makes sense. So that's there as well. We've recently had a birthday, so there's not much in this one at all. Because, like these ones here, there's not a ton of money in, many of them, but maybe there's more money than needs to be in some of them and not enough money in others. So my hope is by the time I've finished this process, I will be able to look, I'll have a much smaller pool of envelopes that I have to be working on each week. So instead of going, I'm going to give this envelope $5 and that envelope $5, I'm going to be able to say, okay, these envelopes, you know, this binder is fully funded, so I don't have to worry about that one. So these here are fully funded, so I'm not going to unstuff those, we'll just leave them be. And then last but not least, at the beginning of the year I was putting all my gold coins in here, and then I stopped doing that because it wasn't really working, I just didn't have enough money. But I am going to break into this today as well. Sorry, that's noisy. And just, I'm going to see how much I have. And I'm going to include that as well, because that is, at the end of the day, this is money that we have put aside, still from our $40,000. None of this money has come from anywhere else. It's our $40,000 a year. But this is essentially money that I've saved as part of the $40,000. And, I'm just thinking maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe I should save that to the end of the year. Sorry, I'm just having a change of heart. I hate breaking into a money box. What I might do is put that back in there, and if I can make everything work, then I'll make it work. And then if I am short, you know, say for example, I can't fund my dental envelope, then I will break into my money box. Sounds like a plan? Cool. So give me a minute, I'm going to count everything up, and yeah, I'll be back soon, and we're going to restuff these envelopes. Should be fun. Okie doke, so I've counted it up, well, mostly. Let's have a look. So I've got 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 3,100, 200, 300, and 50, 60, 70, 85. At $3,385. I better write that down because I will otherwise forget. 385. Awesome. I'm going to need some time to gather my thoughts and figure out really exactly what I'm going to use this $3,385 towards. So yeah, watch the space. I'll be back. I don't know when I'll be back. Could take me all afternoon, but I'll be back and we'll be cash stuffing this money, and yeah, hopefully feeling a little bit more positive. If you've watched some of my last couple of videos, I've kind of been a bit down in the dumps because it just all starts to feel a bit too hard, and I don't want that. So I'll be back soon once I've figured out what I'm going to do. I've done my paper allocation, and it all got spent pretty quickly. That's all I can say. I thought, wow, there is just a stack of money here, but turns out we're spendier than I thought. So this money has basically been allocated. So I am going to make the decision, rather than wait till the end of the year, I'm going to open up the money box and just see if there's a few $100s in here, then that would actually kind of make a difference for just clearing things up, like getting things sorted and putting us on the right foot, I think. So yeah, oh gosh, that's noisy. Let's have a look. Oh, there's a random note in there. I remember when I put that in by accident. So this is what was in there. I think hoping for a couple $100 was a little bit optimistic, but let's see. It's very nice and even for me, isn't it? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So I've got an extra $80 to put into my sinking funds. So stand by, caller. I'll be back soon. Okie doke, I'm back. It's allocated. Let me show you what I've done. Hopefully it all makes perfect sense. Actually, I'm going to need my piece of paper up here as well so I can see what I've actually done. Okay, so food to start off with, I've allocated myself $300. And that is because I just need a bit of a break at the supermarket. I don't want to be making unhealthy choices, and I just feel like I'm struggling to make the healthy ones at the moment. So $300 in for food. The kids, this is no different. They get their $20 a fortnight each for pocket money. Sports. So this is getting a big chunk, and I really have thought hard about this. Is it possible, is it possible to do the kind of sports that that was cut out. So I was talking about sports, and I don't know if it's possible for my kids on this budget to do this sport. They want to do rowing. Rowing is extremely expensive. I've just called one of the kids' schools and said, look, what can we expect? And they said you could expect $4,500 a season. So if both my kids want to do that, that's $9,000 out of $40,000. And school fees combined are kind of similar-ish, but less, but not too much less. That doesn't leave us much for, the rest of our life. But in saying that, I'm always a trier. So let's try. Let's see where we get. That's not to say your kids can't play sport on $40,000 a year, because they can. They can play soccer, netball, basketball, rugby, all the things that have normal fees. I do not understand why rowing is so expensive. It's a boat in a river, both of which, the boat's already owned by the school and the river exists for free use. But anyway, it is what it is. So I'm going to put $1,000 into the sports envelope. And yeah, maybe one of the kids changes their mind. One is really solid, one kid definitely wants to do it, and the other one is a bit like, oh, that sounds fun. So unless they are fully into it, it'll be a no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I did recently actually say no to something one of the kids wanted to do. It wasn't even that it was that expensive. It's just they weren't that into it. And I just thought, we're not made of money. We say yes a lot, but there's limits. So yeah, if you want to train really hard and go the extra mile and really prove that you're committed to doing this thing, awesome. But if you're not, you just want to turn up because it's fun to hang out with your friends on that day, then no, I'm not going to put my hand in my pocket for that. So petrol, $50. So I did already have the 25 in there originally, and I had planned to put in another 25. It will be good for me to top up the tank. And then my husband's work travel, he needs 210, and that's him fully funded. That'll go this pay round, but it just means we're sorted for now. School fees I didn't unstuff, and I'm just going to put in the usual $100 a week. 1, 2. I'm not as on top of this as I would like at all, but it is what it is. That actually, if I tell you how much is in there, that I think this will be ready to go back to the bank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So $1,100 there. I always, once we get to 1,000, I always put it back into the online savings account, or online account for the kids' school fees. And then garden, this has had a little bit of a hit. I'm putting in less money here than I previously had. So there's 150. I was just starting to get a little bit spendy, I think. Like I was kind of maybe being a little lazy in the garden, thinking, oh, I'll just buy that. But lots of the stuff I can create, make do, frugal style. And that's what I'll do. So that's that one completely done, no worries. Next is going to be my blue envelope, blue binder. So I had quite a few $100s in tickets fund because my daughter and I are going to the world of wearable arts, and I need $1,000 to do that. And today I'm just going to start with one lonely $100. If I knew that we were going to be doing this at the beginning of the year, it would be easier, but it's not. I've got 2 months really to save. But what I'm hoping is by sorting out some of the envelopes that are fully funded and some that are not, you know, I'll be able to free up the mind space and just be able to focus a little bit on what needs to be done. So dog food is getting $80, and then this will be fully funded. Okay, so that will come out. That's going somewhere different, fully funded. Grading is going to be getting 120. That is fully funded. So I can put that away and stop thinking about it. Does that make sense now, what I'm kind of achieving? Freeing up a bit of mind space as well, because the stuff can be exhausting if you have to think too hard about it. Into the doctors, I'm putting 150. Here we go, I consider that now fully funded. Done. Optometrist is getting 400. So that's 1, 2, 3, 400. You can get 2 pairs for $300 here in New Zealand, but I think I might need bifocals. I'm just starting to do that thing where you kind of move your hand further away when you're trying to read something up close. So I think next time I get my eyes tested, that'll be what I'm after. So I think that'll be a little bit extra. So that's optometrist. I consider that fully funded now. And then last but not least is the dentist. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 80, 90, 100. So that should be, I should have counted out $500. 1, 2, 3. Hang on, my 20 short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. $500. So dentist, I also consider that fully funded. That is enough for a dental visit and a filling, should I require it. Now it's not that I won't stuff a single cent into these again, because you know it's good to just build things up, but it just means for now the important things are taken care of. We can look after our teeth, we can look after our eyes, we can see the doctor without stress, sports, dog food, you know, nothing, you know, overly exciting, but all very necessary things. And then my very last binder, obviously I'm going to have to use that change somehow. Hey guys, I'm back. It's actually been 24 hours since that last section of video. I cash stuffed, I did everything. What you've seen so far is I actually did stuff this binder, and then I got to the end and I thought, I haven't done what I set out to do. These are not values-based decisions I'm making with these binders. I've tried to do something that I'm not able to do. And so I thought about it, I was at work, and I thought about it, and then just went, do you know what, I'm going to have to redo this binder because I haven't done it. Yeah, I just haven't done it as well as I wanted to. And the reason I haven't is because of this envelope, the sports envelope. I put $1,000 in here in the hopes that I could, on this $40,000 a year budget, I know you'll think I'm a bit insane because clearly it's not going to work. On this $40,000 a year budget, I thought, hey, yeah, I can spend $9,000 of that on my kids' sports so that they can do rowing. And it's just not possible. I cannot pay school fees and pay rowing fees, so something has to give. Yeah, and it's actually really hard as a parent to come to that decision, I think. So I'm kind of two minds. I've got a bit of a plan of how I can perhaps make it work for them on this money, but I can't do it with short notice. You know, like if next year we're living on $40,000 a year, you know, I have a little bit of a plan of maybe how I could make it work, but I can't come up with the money quickly. You know, I can't come up with $9,000 over the next 3 months when my entire quarterly budget is only $10,000. So that doesn't make sense, and I'm going to take the pressure off. So I've got a couple of options with that. I can work more. At the moment, the money we make over $40,000 is going straight into investments. So I could work more so that I don't have to take any money out of that investment. I could put less into the investments and create, you know, some extra cash that way. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I just want to be really transparent that if my kids do rowing, it is not going to be coming out of our $40,000 a year budget. So that will mean that I have broken that. At the moment, I'm still in the game. So watch this space, but it's not going to happen here. And I'm just going to take that completely off my radar and just accept that it wouldn't be possible. What might be possible, and I don't know how much needs to be paid this year and how much needs to be paid next year, but what might be possible is to come up with enough money to do the preliminary kind of tryout, see how you like it sort of thing. I don't know how much that is, but I think it's a few $100s. And if that takes place this year and then actual rowing is more towards the end of the year and next year, then perhaps I might be able to make it work for one person. I don't know that I would be able to make it work for two. But anyway, for now, I'm taking it off my plate. So this is the $1,000 that I had set aside in there for rowing. And now I'm just going to get my pink binder. I've already unstuffed all the envelopes that I had already stuffed, except for this one here, which I had stuffed with the change. I'm going to get this change out. It's $25, and I'm just going to put it straight into my challenge, and that's going to get me up to date there. So $25, there's 5, 9, 11, 14, 15, 20, 25. Oh, not quite up to date, but an improvement, right? And that's what this cash stuff is all about, is taking a bit of the mental load off, being frugal, like just not having to think so very, very hard, literally all the time, just to try and make my budget work. I just need a little bit of a break. I'm not losing my frugal mojo, I'm just kind of accepting that it's, or acknowledging, I guess, that it's really exhausting trying to live on a very small amount of money in 2025. But that's cool. I'm not complaining, I'm just saying that's how I'm feeling. So rego warrant, this needs $500. That's a priority. So again, values-based decisions. Stuff the things that are the most important. 3, 4, 5. Now I can move that into the blue binder. So I'll come back to that, I'll come back to that, come back to that. Where's bikes? Here we go. So bikes, again, I know I need money in the bikes because we ride our bikes a lot, and I recently had to buy a few new tyres, and yeah, it's expensive. So I'm going to put $300 into bikes. And then that is also fully funded. So I can put that to the side and I can say, it's not that I'm not going to put a single cent into these. I'm going to keep putting money in. Basically, if I put in $10 every week, I will always have enough money now that I have, you know, kind of front loaded these binders. But it means all the important stuff is taken care of. Then what have we got left? Oops. So tickets and fun. I'm off to the World of Wearable Arts, you guys know that. And I do need some money for that. That's 20, that's my movie voucher from my kids in the form of some cash. So I've got 100 there. I need 1,000, 200, 300. Yeah. 300. This is something I can save for. This is doable. Although ideally it would be also over a long period of time would be less of a problem. So that would be $20 a week over the year if we were going to make that an annual thing. But that's okay. I'm happy to work on that. That's a doable challenge, not an insurmountable one. So then I've got clothes, birthday, Christmas, giving, dog groom, shoes, and tech. Poor old tech. I put money in there every year and then it goes. Money in, and then I go, oh, it's not that important. Money out. Okay, so tickets and fun. Oops, you're done. Clothes, let's just put in 50. Birthday, we do have an extended family member's birthday coming up. 20, 30. Christmas was reasonably well stocked and I've taken it all out. And I obviously need to start working on that too, but now I will have a bit more freedom because I won't be putting so many hundreds of dollars away. So I'm just going to put $10 in there. So I've started. But my aim is to front load as many as I can. This needs just 10 and I'm right on track with that. If I can be really disciplined and just, get, focus on a few. That's what I'm thinking, like if next cash stuff, I just have to go, oh, okay, this is the binder I really need to stuff. And then get rid of some, go, okay, clothes, this needs $200. If I can get $200 in there and move it over there, then it only needs maintenance, $5, and I just think it will just clear my head a wee bit. So so we've got groom, shoes and tech. So there's $15 in the dog room. Oops. The kids have both just had new shoes, so I'm not particularly worried about needing shoes, but again, not doing very well there, am I? You do need to just chip away. Little bits often are going to kind of win the race. And then poor old tech, back to $15. I'd really like to, every envelope I've done, I've closed it and then had to open it again. I would really like to buy a proper camera. I've always had a proper camera, just a point and shoot, but I like to have a point and shoot camera. At the moment I just have an iPod, which is what I take these movies on and it's what I take our family photos on. But I don't really like taking, it's not a phone, but it kind of feels like a phone. I would just rather have a analog life with a camera. So I need probably about $500 in that one there to get what I want. And that's all good. And then sports is completely empty. That's all right. I'm just going to quickly go through and put these in order of importance so that I can really focus. So those are the two that I need to kind of really ramp up. So then I know that I'm not going to run out of money, and then I'll just have a quick look through that blue binder and we'll just see how many envelopes have I managed by reallocating that money. I've actually managed to finish off. So should anything be required in this blue binder department, I'm covered, I'm done. So let's put it in there. And that feels really good. Okay, so I've got bikes, rego warrant, hygienist, vet, dog food, dentist, optometrist, doctor, and a sports cost, all fully funded. So what have how many have I got? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I can put $180 into this every fortnight, these will remain fully funded. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. 180. This is my most expensive binder. Oh, sorry, my food envelope's out because I'm heading off to the supermarket. This is the one that, you know, this swallows up a lot of cash. But in saying that, you know, it's also, I don't know, it's not too bad. Actually, let's put garden in there as well, because did I put 150 in this yesterday? Yep, 150. That's actually enough. That's enough for a couple of trees, all my seeds, some compost. It's not that I will put nothing in there again and I'll also spend it, but if I put $20 a fortnight in there, so that would be $200 in this binder, done. So 200 in this binder, and I've got groceries. This week I did 300, and I think that's going to be pretty good. So 300, 350, 460, 560. Yeah, I feel like that's going to free up a ton of cash. Okay, I am really happy that I've done that. I feel so much better now. I feel like a little bit of control is clawed back into my life after, you know, you can't do anything about escalating costs. We are in, it's quite the survival crisis at the moment for many people. We can't change these external factors. We can only change how we confront it and how we manage the resources that we have. And for me, one of the key things today was just admitting that it's impossible to do a $9,000 sport on 40k a year. And, you know, even just saying that, it's kind of freeing. I felt like I couldn't do that because I'm trying so hard to show people how you can do almost anything, you know, on a little budget. And I guess that's the key. You can do anything, but you just can't do everything. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I hope there's some nuggets of information in there that you find useful. And if you've got any comments, please pop them below. I love reading them. It's my favourite part of YouTube. And I look forward to catching you guys next time. Bye for now.